Hello everyone, Spirit of 420 here, introducing the episode. Today's episode is for Spirit of 420 presents Memorable Moments. That's an easy one. And on that note, I've gotten some advice, and I just want to say this here at the beginning, because I forgot to say it during the show. I've gotten some different advice on things, so I'm going to try to do some small things. I'm very limited, and what I mean by that is I don't have the resources to go out there and keep paying for different, caricatures. But what I will try to do is maybe each series, because as you've noticed, I've kind of started multiple series, because that's kind of just how the way it works out. You can pretty much categorize everything, right? So every series will maybe have a different theme as far as in the future, you know, doing different thumbnails. And I'll do my best on editing, but I don't have really the time. Like today, I'm recording this. It's, it's 4:20 now, so I'm already late, and I would like to get it out by 5:20, but I'll probably end up getting it out by 6:20 so that it's 4:20 in Hawaii. But regardless, I will try to do some things. I've heard the advice. I'll do what I can. I will tell you this, the more views I get and the more that this actually, it's not going to pay me income for quite a while, but the more that this, the more that I have into it and the more people that are watching and comment. So, feel free to comment. Then the better, I can do it. But again, I can only do so much, and I will do the best I can. And obviously, today is late, but I think I already explained that. I've just had a lot going on and been under a lot of pressure. You can tell. I mean, I actually have a beard now, so you can really see the 50 years old coming in. Just days away from that, 50 on the 19th, and I'll be live streaming on that day as well. That is all. Enjoy the episode. Hello, everyone. Spirit of 420 here, because everything I do is so 420. The stories that I share are 100% factual. The opinions are mine. You can't have them, but kind of hope you share them. That's all I'll say on that. I've said it before. I said it last week when I was having a bad day. And, bad days come and go. Surprises come and go, like the fact that my dogs are barking in the middle of my recording. Things you have no control over, or at least perceivably so. In that, let me just say I've had some pretty bad days. I know most of y'all that are watching are probably keeping track of the fact that I am working on a project. I do not want to share it because I want it to be a surprise. But I've had a few setbacks, and they are frustrating to say the least. I had a long weekend and made some decisions that I probably shouldn't have, and we'll just put it like that. So I was not myself the last few days, and I would have recorded on Tuesday, but again, it is what it is. And now, strangely enough, I'm getting a call, but yep. Even though you put do not disturb on these devices, they just don't do it, do they? It's ridiculous. So, moving on. Where was I? Oh, a little bit more about me. So I had a couple of crazy days. One thing that I did, as everybody knows, I've pointed out that I am a poly pansexual in a open marriage, and obviously I go out and date. And I was trying to hook up with a guy, funny enough, and this rando dude. It's funny because he expected me to, in this day and age, if you can get this, agree to go over there and have raw dog sex with him, and release. I'll say it in the nicest of ways, because I kind of find it funny that he expected that and wanted me to agree to that before coming over. I was like, well, that's, fuck off, dude. Quite frankly, I think that's ridiculous to expect that from somebody. I wouldn't even do that necessarily with someone I've been with a couple of times in this day and age. I want to see proof that you're clean. He told me he was clean. What's that? I get tested every 3 months. Okay, well, then you should have the tests. Anyway, moving on. One of the things I also had to do this weekend was cut down a tree, and I'm gonna skip to it here in a minute, but I'll let you see it. But I thought it was great because my wife and I had to cut down this tree in the front yard. It's dying, and we didn't want the wind to blow it over and lose a car or lose part of the house or any of that stuff, right? So we knew we were going to be cutting it down. I had originally had plans on my boys coming over and helping me, but then all of a sudden I just got a wild hair on my ass after I had decided to cancel it and do it. Now here's the beginning of the story. I got a chainsaw for it. So I'm sitting there with the chainsaw, and I'm expecting the chainsaw to be a big difference because all I had prior to that was the Sawzall. For those of you all don't know, a Sawzall is like a giant jigsaw, you know, for cutting branches and stuff like that. But it's not really meant for cutting trees per se. So I got this chainsaw and I start digging into it, and it does hardly anything. I mean, I'm like, so I told my wife, I was like, this thing sucks. I don't know how it got the reviews. Da da da. I'm gonna return it. Blah blah blah. I was so pissed. Well, she goes and reads it, and even though I had taken the time to read the directions to put this thing together, I put the fucking blade on backwards. So it was literally going in reverse, which is not gonna, I mean, it will trim away at a tree, but that's about all it'll do because you're just running metal against the tree fast. It's gonna do something. As soon as I turned it around, this thing cut like butter. It was beautiful. But now we didn't have the boys there to pull on the rope. You know, when you cut a tree, you gotta pull in the direction you want. So I was like, fuck it. I took my Juke, put the toe, you know, that toe piece that you can screw into the front of the cars, the toe anchor, screwed that in, tied the rope on the tree, tied the rope on the car, had my wife get in it, put it in reverse, put the pressure on the tree, and voila, here you go. Check it out. I know, it was textbook. I couldn't believe how well it came down and how easy it did. By the way, what you saw there was the end of it. That was the last piece. That was the only one that we actually had to tie a rope to. It was the tallest one. It was one of these trees where you can see the base. The base is like 6 feet tall, so it's about like this. And then just, there was one major one, which you saw, the last one. That was the thickest. But then there was like, you know, originally when we moved here, there was probably 7 or 8. But we had already cut a few away because part of the problem was the tree was dying of disease. So, and that's why it ended up cracking. It's dying with it. Moving on. Story for today. I wanted to share a memorable event. I thought this one was pretty funny. So I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with the band Fishbone, but they've been a band I've been listening to for years. And this story takes place in 1993, Lollapalooza. In 1993, Lollapalooza, Fishbone was one of the headliners for at least part of the tour. I don't know if they were on there the whole time. But when I saw them, they were. And I didn't go to Lollapalooza 1, which was 91. I went to 92, 93, 94, and then it started to suck to me. It just wasn't the same, but nothing ever stays the same, does it? But without change, you won't have bad days, and then without bad days, you won't have good days. So, anyway. At this time, this is 93, so I was 21. I was with my second girlfriend. Names aren't important. Or actually, she was my first girlfriend. I'm sorry, I was with my first girlfriend. That's right. This was the first girl that I actually dated for any consequential amount of time. In fact, we were together for about 15 months. And right after we were together, we saw Lollapalooza 92. And towards the end, we saw Lollapalooza 93, and then we broke up. Primus, I believe, was at the 93, or might have been 94. Hell if I can remember. I had to look it up to remember which one this was because, quite frankly, it all kind of feels like the same one. I went to the same venue. At the time, it was called Lakewood Amphitheater, and that was in Atlanta, Georgia. And it was one of the best places to see the show. I can tell you that. So, nonetheless, go to the show. 21, first girlfriend. If you guys have been keeping up, folks, excuse me for everybody out there, don't need to say guys, try to say folks. For all you folks out there, this is, if you don't remember, I was a drug dealer and I'd already started. I was not a drug lord at this time. I had not reached that point. But what I can tell you is that I had, reached a status where I was pretty much consistently peddling. And one of the things that I almost always had was hash. And as a matter of fact, for the 93 Lollapalooza, I was on, I think, 4 or 5 tabs, or what we call tabs. Those were rolled ecstasy, taking a couple of hits of acid, plus tons of marijuana and hash. So, and I had, I did not get the seats. I preferred actually being out in the general admission where you could sit anywhere and pretty much get away with smoking and doing whatever you want. And sure enough, I was out there, and I was sitting there smoking my bowl, and I had some hash in it. Just packed up a nice big fat bowl and topped it with a bunch of pieces of hash and was just getting high. And no kidding, Angelo Moore just sits down right beside me. That's the lead singer of Fishbone. His bodyguard was with him, but he just sits down beside me. He's like, "Hey man, you mind if I hit that?" I was like, Are you fucking kidding, bro? Absolutely not. And it just felt fucking awesome. I sat there and smoked pretty much that entire bowl with him. I know he was lit. I just felt awesome because I knew that the high, like literally moments later, he was up on stage performing. It was their time. So he had come out there, you know, right before the show to get high, and I was the one he tagged that day, and that is probably one of my most memorable moments. And it's not because he's famous or anything like that. That part of it, it's because I know I had a little piece of entertaining everybody that day by getting that guy high. And when everybody was watching him, his high was coming out, and I was responsible for the high. So that was the memorable part of it for me. I actually have a few more of those. And just a side note real quick. I don't know if this is Mandela effect or what, but I wish I had some of my old CDs. Fuck, I don't have. I sold them all to a sister because I went digital. But I am 99.9% positive that Angelo Moore went by D'Angelo Moore. And I'm thinking that because I think there's a ball player now, he ended up changing it from that or something for the lack of confusion, because now it's just Angelo Moore. And I don't know, you know, what's funny is I did the search, and as I was doing the search, it came up. So I'm not the only asshole that remembers him as D'Angelo Moore. So I'm curious if he changed his name or if this is Mandela and he simply, in my world now, never went by D'Angelo. So maybe if somebody can find that out, that'd be great. Something real quick. I don't know if anybody ever deals with this, but something strange that I find strange, and I know a lot of my friends deal with it, or at least a group of us have because we discussed it. I call it SWASS. SWASS is Swamp Ass. Swamp Ass is when, for no apparent reason, your ass just starts to sweat from like the top down to the taint. And you're like, what the hell? And you always, you know, I'll just say it again, my friends and I have discussed it for years since I was in my 20s, how this always happens at the most inopportune times. I say that because right before I decided to record this episode, I got hit with SWASS, you know, and it was awesome. So I had to go and freshen up and powder up, if you will. Yeah, I know it's funny, but hey, it is what it is. Everything happens for a reason. Obviously, I believe that. I continue to preach that. Something I want to say towards that, though, I don't really have necessarily an example today. I have examples all the time, but I wanted to take today to kind of talk about the fact that keeping this in mind during both the times that are down and the times that are up. Because if you truly live your life by the adage that there are no mistakes and everything's happening the way it's supposed to, then you realize when you have a bad moment, right, when you're going through the shit, it is only a segue to it getting better, because you cannot possibly have a fantabulous fucking day if you haven't experienced shit days before. And what you have to know too is if it's pretty fucking shitty and it's pretty fucking cloudy, guess what? It's inevitable. The sun is fucking coming, right? It's just a matter of time. So, you know, one of the things that I just want to talk about is if you don't live your life by that rule, and I understand it's your choice. It's everybody's choice. You know, I'm only trying to tell you what I think. And by the way, I don't consider myself a preacher or anything like that, although I do end up preaching on here. I'm a storyteller, right? Storyteller, that's it. And through those stories, I end up preaching. But again, if you live your life by that, then you see what I'm talking about. But if you don't, then many times you get so focused on the negative that you don't even see the little positives that are happening. Because positives are happening all the time. You may be like me, for instance. And what I mean by that is if something really bad happened, like I got really depressed, and then it just compounds, because if you're in a depressed mood, you allow yourself to only see the depressing things around you. You know, and nobody can, I know I can't, but when you're depressed, everybody wants to cheer you up. I do the same thing. I'm guilty of it. But the reality is you can't cheer somebody up who's depressed, right? They have to do it. They have to find something. Find a way to pick themselves up. You know, for me, I pray. Because every time I pray, things end up getting better. I see a little piece of light, then I see another piece of light, and the next thing I know, the sun is shining all around me. So, take it for what it's worth. That's my belief, and that's how I see things. Most people don't realize how normal strange is. maybe y'all could help me. I'm trying to start the hashtag be more strange, hashtag strange is good. Personally, I believe in those wholeheartedly, and I would love to see a couple years from now where, you know, they've caught on and people are being strange and in a good way. And what I mean by that is embrace your strangeness, show your strangeness, and don't be scared of it, because the fact is, the more people share how strange they are, the more the other people who are hiding it so well realize, man, everybody is strange, right? That's the whole freaking point. So, opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one. Everybody thinks that everybody else's stinks. Mine smell like coffee and weed. I don't have the coffee today, but you know what? I do have this fresh bowl of weed. I will say this. I forgot to introduce these two. So this is Big Blue Balls. I think that pretty much, you know, if you can't figure that one out, then sorry. And then easy enough. I'm pretty sure we named this one Purple Passion, but we hadn't used it in such a long time that I can't remember. But I'm like 95 stoner% sure. So regardless, anyway, as I said, my opinions smell like coffee and weed. So with that, till next episode. Or I might end up having an extra on here. Either way, till the next time. Just a quick extra. There was a friend in need, and it wasn't a friend looking for weed. It was an actual friend in need, emotionally, support and that kind of thing. Going through some tough times, and obviously I will never use anybody's names. But I will say this episode was kind of for you, buddy. I hope that you end up watching it, and you know who you are. So had a great time with you, and glad to see you're doing better. Each day gets a little better. I know you're not great, but you're a little bit better than you were the other day. C'est la vie. Talk to you soon.